And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? There is so much news, so much stuff going on in the world today that there's just going to be no limit to it. We're not going to get all the way through it. That's for sure. But you know what? We're going to do our best to give you an entertaining and informational type show today. And then also we're going to talk about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then we'll continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. In the rest of the story, today's story is, the cabinet in the nursery. You're not going to want to miss that. It's a really good one. It's a twister. And a little bit later on, our own Sean LaFave will be here. Sean and I will be talking about healthcare on the Geared for Wellness corner. So you don't want to miss any of that. But right now, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 76 on its way to 52 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. You know what? The weather has been just weird. That's all I can say. It's just been weird, I think, as far as what's going on. But let's talk about some news. Let's see if we can't get you going. Here's the latest. A House Intel chair is concerned about WikiLeaks. You know, the latest on the publication by WikiLeaks of what it described as thousands of pages of confidential files about CIA hacking activities. Let's talk about that. You know, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee says that he's extremely concerned about WikiLeaks' release of documents that it says came from the CIA's Center for Cyber Intelligence. Representative Devin Nunes, from the Republican from California, says that he asked the intelligence community for more information about the documents. He told reporters at the Capitol today that his committee may have to probe the matter. So far, the CIA and the Director of National Intelligence have declined to comment. The chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Richard Burr, a Republican from North Carolina, also has had no comment on the release. WikiLeaks claims Samsung smart TVs are among the CIA's weapons for surveillance. WikiLeaks claims the CIA worked with the United Kingdom intelligence officials to turn microphones in TVs into listening devices. Samsung smart TVs have microphones so viewers can make voice commands, such as requests for movie recommendations. The commands typically aren't transmitted outside the home unless users activate the feature. If the TV is off, there's no listening being done. But WikiLeaks claims that documents it obtained show that through a program called Weeping Angel, the target TV appears to be off when it is actually on and listening. WikiLeaks says that the audio goes to a covert CIA server rather than a party authorized by Samsung. In such cases, audio isn't limited to TV commands, but could include everyday conversations. Man, starting to sound a little bit like Big Brother. Yeah, it sure does. WikiLeaks says the documents that it obtained show that the CIA targeted everyday gadgets such as smartphones as part of the surveillance program. The hacks have allowed the CIA to collect audio and other messages from apps such as Facebook's WhatsApp before the data got actually encrypted. According to WikiLeaks, the CIA knew about several flaws in software made by Apple, Google, Samsung, and others, but didn't tell the companies about them. Disclosing such vulnerabilities is supposed to be common practice so companies could fix them before hackers use them. But WikiLeaks says the CIA kept knowledge of the vulnerabilities to itself for use in bypassing the encryption on apps such as WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, and Confide. WikiLeaks says the CIA had 24 such undisclosed vulnerabilities for Android gadgets alone. Man. So here we go again. So is it maybe so unbelieving that Donald Trump may have been hacked in a different way by the CIA? It makes you think, doesn't it? All these capabilities that are there didn't need to tap anything, just turn on a speaker. Well, conservative backlash threatens to sink the new GOP health bill. The powerful conservative backlash threatened to sink the new Republican health care bill today, less than 24 hours after his launch, even as President Donald Trump and congressional leaders began trying to sell the legislation as the long-promised GOP cure for Obamacare. We're going to do something that's great, and I'm proud to support the replacement plan released by the House of Representatives, Trump declared at the White House as he met with the House GOP vote counting team just today. We're going to take action. There's going to be no slowing down. There's going to be no waiting and no more excuses by anybody. Meanwhile, Vice President Mike Pence told the GOP lawmakers at the Capitol this was their chance to scuttle Obama's law. Instead of Majority Leader Mitch McConnell forecast congressional passage by early April. But major obstacles loomed as key Republican lawmakers announced their opposition, and one conservative group after another torched the plan. The Club for Growth, Heritage Action for America, Americans for Prosperity, and Tea Party patriots variously derided the new bill as Obamacare Light, Obamacare 2.0, and even Ryan Care in a dig at House Speaker Paul Ryan of Wisconsin. You know, the concerned conservative opposition was a remarkable rebuke to legislation GOP leaders hope will fulfill 7 years of promises to repeal and replace Barack Obama's Affordable Care Act. Pledges that played out in countless Republican campaigns for House and Senate, as well as last year's race for president. Instead, the groups that are uniting to oppose this new House legislation include many spraying up to oppose passage of Obamacare in the first place. Well, you know, as the bill stands today, it is Obamacare 2.0. The billionaire Koch brothers backed Americans for Prosperity and Freedom Partners Chamber of Commerce said in a statement millions of Americans would never see the improvements in care that they are promised, just as Obamacare failed to deliver on its promises. Republicans are intent on reducing the role of government in health care. Well, the new GOP plan would repeal the current law's unpopular fines on people who don't carry health insurance. It also would replace income-based subsidies, which the law provides to help millions of Americans pay premiums, with age-based tax credits and maybe skippier for people with low incomes. Those payments would phase out for higher-earning people. The Republican legislation would limit future federal funding for Medicaid, which covers low-income people, about 1 in 5 Americans, as a matter of fact. That's 20%. And it would loosen rules that Obama's law imposed for health plans directly purchased by individuals. Well, it's going to be a problem. Democrats say the bill would leave many people uninsured, shifting costs to states and hospital systems that act as providers of last resort. The bill also adds up to big tax cuts for the rich, cutting more than 20 taxes enacted under Obama's health law, with the bulk of the savings going to the wealthiest Americans. This is a tax cut for the wealthy, with some health insurance provisions tacked alongside of it, said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, the Democrat from New York. Well, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to have more news for you. It's just crazy stuff. We're going to talk about Casey Anthony tells the Associated Press, I didn't do what I was accused of. We'll talk more about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. I've got a lot for you. We've got a lot coming up.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know what? Casey Anthony tells the Associated Press, I didn't do what I was accused of. You know, Casey Anthony knows that much of the world believes that she killed her 2-year-old daughter despite her acquittal. But nearly 9 years later, she insists she doesn't know how the last hours of Kaylee's life unfolded. Kaylee would be 12 right now and would be a total badass, she told the Associated Press in one of the series of exclusive interviews. I'd like to think she'd be listening to classic rock, playing sports, and putting up with no nonsense. But discussing Kaylee's last months, the 30-year-old Anthony spoke in halting, sober tones. I'm still not even certain as I stand here today about what actually happened, she said. Based on what was in the media, the story of a woman who could not account for a month in which her child was missing, whose defense involved an accidental drowning for which there was no eyewitness testimony. I understand the reasons people feel about me. I understand why people have the opinions that they do. This was the first time Anthony spoke to a news media outlet about her daughter's death of her years since the trial. Her responses were at turns revealing, bizarre, and often contradictory. And they ultimately raised more questions than answers about the case that has captivated the nation. It's been almost 9 years since Kaylee went missing and 6 since the circus-like Orlando trial that ended in her mother's acquittal. The trial was carried live on cable networks and was the focus of daily commentaries by HLN's Nancy Grace, who called her the most hated mom in America and derisively, tot mom. Well, Anthony views herself as something of an Alice in Wonderland, with the public as the Red Queen. The Queen is proclaiming no sentence first, verdict afterward. She says, I sense and feel to this day that is a direct parallel to what I lived. My sentence was doled out long before there was a verdict. Sentence first, verdict afterwards. People found me guilty long before I had my day in court. The child was supposedly last seen on June the 16th, 2008. She was first reported missing by Casey Anthony's mother On July the 15th, a day later, Casey Anthony was arrested on charges of child neglect. She told police that Kaylee had disappeared with a babysitter. A utility worker working in the wooded area near the Anthony home on December the 11th found skeletal remains that were later determined to be Kaylee's. Experts would testify that air samples indicated the decaying human remains had been present in Casey Anthony's trunk. In the end, prosecutors proved Casey Anthony was a liar, but convinced the jury of little else. The government failed to establish how Kaylee died, and they couldn't find her mother's DNA on the duct tape that they said was used to suffocate her. After a trial of a month and a month and a half, actually, and the jury took less than 11 hours to find Anthony not guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated manslaughter, and aggravated child abuse. Well, still, the Florida Department of Children and Families concluded that Anthony was responsible for her daughter's death because her actions or lack of actions ultimately resulted or contributed in the death of a child. And just this month, former Circuit Judge Belvin Perry Jr., who presided at the trial, theorized that Anthony may have killed Kaylee accidentally when she was using chloroform to calm her. Jeez. She was convicted of 4 counts of lying to police, though 2 counts were later dropped, and served about 3 years in prison while awaiting trial. 1,000 people were there to see her released. She admits that she lied to the police about being employed at Universal Studios, about leaving Kaylee with her babysitter, about telling 2 people, both of them imaginary, that Kaylee was missing, about receiving a phone call from Kaylee the day before she was reported. Even if I would have told them everything that I told the psychologist, I hate to say this, but I firmly believed I would have been in the same place because cops believe other cops. Cops tend to victimize the victims. I understand now. I see why I was treated the way that I was, even had I been completely truthful. She added, cops lie to people every day. I'm just one of the unfortunate idiots who admitted that they lied. She paused. My dad was a cop. You can read into that what you want. Well, it's enough of that. You know, you got to make up your own mind what you think is the case around here. That's the case. Well, let me leave you with this. There's a battle looming over Bill Cosby's testimony on drugs and sex. The next battle in the criminal case against Bill Cosby is going to be whether prosecutors can use his lurid deposition testimony about giving pills and alcohol to a string of women before sex, material that may be disallowed at his trial since the judge already ruled most of the women themselves cannot testify. Judge Stephen O'Neill must resolve the stemming conflict between 2 key pretrial rulings that he made in recent months. One lets the deposition in, while the other excludes most of the accusers Cosby discusses. The 2 sides will slug it out in briefs being filed in the coming weeks. The case is set for trial June the 5th in suburban Philadelphia. Well, we'll see what happens. Now, it's time for us to take a short break. We've got a lot of show left for you, so don't go away. We're going to talk about the IRS Loses when we return. The case, a refund deadline mistake. I'll tell you all about it right after these messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 76 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 52 degrees. You know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, hey, it's 46 degrees and it's mostly cloudy. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 50 degrees. And it's clear, yeah. You know what? But right now, I want to put a smile on your face. I want to talk to you about the IRS Loses. And our first case is a refund deadline mistake. Here's the deal. Richard Perkins owed a tax debt that the IRS sought to collect by levy. Now, he had also overpaid his previous taxes and asked to have a resulting refund applied against that tax debt. But he had filed those previous taxes more than 3 years late. So the IRS said he had forfeited the refund. When Perkins asked if anything could extend that 3-year deadline, the IRS agent told him disability, but noted that Perkins hadn't been disabled when that return had actually been due. So Perkins went to tax court. This is what the judge said. If Perkins had been disabled within 3 years after the return's due date, the extension would apply, and he had been ill during that period. So the levy was stopped, and the IRS was ordered to re-examine the case. You know what? Does the IRS just always have to look at the shady side of everything? Can't they just be reasonable? You know, give a guy a break? This wasn't any big thing. How about this? The IRS loses. The IRS, get this one, commits fraud on the court in 1,300 tax shelter cases. Well, you know what? The IRS attacked a tax shelter arrangement that 1,300 taxpayers had actually invested in. To avoid litigating all those cases, the parties agreed to a test case, with both sides following its result in the other cases. But the IRS offered the taxpayers in the test case a favorable secret settlement if they lost, in lieu of pursuing an appeal. Now, the taxpayers then lost, and the IRS applied the courtroom result to all of the other cases. What happened next? Well, word of that secret settlement leaked, and the other taxpayers protested. They went to court. Boy, this is what the judge said. The IRS had committed fraud on the court and must apply the terms of the secret settlement to all the cases and must pay interest and attorney fees for all of these other cases. How about this one? The IRS loses. By the way, did that put a chill up your spine? Did that get you smiling? Sure it did. How about this? The IRS loses. It abused its discretion in not giving relief to a spouse. Here's the thing. The IRS tried to hold a woman liable for past due taxes owed by her husband. Now, he was a lawyer who was a drug abuser and since disbarred and imprisoned. She sought innocent spouse relief, but the IRS denied it because she had known that they couldn't pay their taxes when signing their joint return, and she had never divorced or legally separated from her husband. Well, she went to court to get some justice. This is what the judge said. The IRS neglected to consider important factors that she thought that she was legally separated. Now, her lawyer husband had actually deceived her. Her husband had been abusive and kept her from knowing about his finances, and paying his tax would cause her serious hardship. So, yeah, you got it. She gets the relief, and that's exactly the way it ought to be. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS does stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS, very much like the Twilight Zone. Well, you know what? Now, these are not actual tax court cases, but, you know, I tell you all the time that information is one of the most valuable commodities you could ever have. And that's where we're at here with the Inside the IRS here. One of the things I want you to know is that the IRS tracks foreign account schemers. Here's the deal. You know, last year, the IRS began seeking unreported foreign bank accounts through records of credit cards used to tap them, while offering owners of such accounts reduced penalties if they would come forward, reported them voluntarily, and informed the IRS about the sponsors and promoters of such accounts. So here's the deal. Here's the result of that. More than 1,300 taxpayers came forward. So far, the IRS has collected more than $170 million in taxes, interest, and penalties. Now, most important, the IRS has obtained the names of nearly 500 scheme and scam promoters, about half of whom were previously unknown to the IRS. Now, here's the key. The IRS says that it is now obtaining each promoter's participant list, which names all the other people for whom the promoter set up such accounts who have not turned themselves in. Now, with these names and the knowledge that the IRS has obtained from the promoters about the details of how offshore accounts are actually set up, the IRS expects to catch many more owners of unreported foreign accounts. Now, the likelihood of these tax evaders hearing from us increasing daily? Well, the IRS says there's not only a likelihood, there's a predominance of opportunity here for the IRS to go ahead and get them. Let me give you one more case here. When the IRS asks you to extend the statute of limitations, you know what? Generally, the IRS must make an assessment of additional taxes within 3 years from the date a tax return is actually filed. Now, if the tax return is being examined, the IRS may ask you to extend the statute of limitations for a period of 1 year or longer until it completes the actual examination. Now, if you refuse, the IRS is going to make an assessment based on what it thinks you owe, and you're going to then have to the right to file a petition with the U.S. Tax Court. The strategy here? If the IRS fails to identify a significant tax issue, such as your failure to report a large chunk of income, it may be a good idea to refuse to extend that statute of limitations. Giving the IRS more time to pursue the tax audit could mean that you use that extra time to develop additional tax issues that could cost you a lot of money, or even involve defending yourself against criminal charges. You need to consult an attorney, of course, but you don't want to take a chance you're going to spend valuable time away from home in one of those federal resorts. That's not what you want to have happen. But sometimes not doing the statute of limitations is going to save you more money than the greed is going to get you. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with my good buddy Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. I have no idea where Sean is at today, but he's somewhere, I think, in the United States. He may still be in California, but I doubt that. We'll find out when we come back, so don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, hey, it's 76 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Man, it's like a yo-yo. One day, a week ago, it was raining. It's on its way down to 52 degrees for the low. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Flagstaff, Arizona, well, it's 54 degrees and it's clear. If you happen to be in Wichita, Kansas, it's 63 degrees in clear. Now, if you're not in either one of those places, Sean LaFave is going to tell us what the weather is. I have no idea where this man's at, but you know what? We're going to have a great hour coming up here. So let's just wait for Sean to tell us where he's at and what the temperature is. Sean, you got the microphone.
Well, hello, Robert. I am sitting under sunny skies and 67 degrees here in the Newport Coast, Orange County, California.
Boy, I didn't even get close to you, did I?
Well, you know, it's Flagstaff is not that far away. I could drive there in a half a day easy, so that's close enough.
So I think you may not be able to get your visa renewed for California. You may have to go back to Wichita here any day now.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't extradited me yet in the state. But,
so are you
there are a few that would like to.
Are you having a good time visiting your son and your friends?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always good to be able to hang out. Of course, he's 21 now, and he's got a new girlfriend, and so I don't really get to see him.
Wait a minute. His dad has been gone for months, and he's not willing to spend some time with you?
Oh yeah, well, no, we spend time together. But you know how it is. You got at least when you're 21, you got a girlfriend. You got a girlfriend. I'm
just joshing you. I'm just kidding you. You know, I can remember when I was a young guy and I was courting my wife Marlene. She used to live out in La Palma on the street called La Palma, and my mother used to always say, "Are you going over to that gal on La Palma?" And I said, "Yeah, Mom, I am." She says, "Why don't you just move in?" I said, "I would if I could." So anyway, my friend, what's up? What's new and exciting in your life?
Oh gosh, just been all over the place. I just got back this weekend. I was in Ogden, Utah.
Oh, what was
for a conference? I was at a conference out there. It was a great conference. It was actually, the whole thing was put on by a company called Systemic Formulas, and the whole topic of the event was on skin health.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating. And I've researched skin health before, and I've worked with skin before, but it was a bunch of new learning, and some great things came out of it. They've got a new product out there that they're promoting now, and it's pretty fascinating. The way it's a live culture product that actually has. It's like you've heard of people taking probiotics for their stomach, right?
Yeah.
For your digestive system.
Yeah.
Well, that's to feed your microbiome inside your gut. Well, we have a microbiome on just pretty much every part of our body. I mean, we've got a microbiome in our mouth. We've got them, on our skin as well, and just everywhere you can think of. And so this product is basically a probiotic lotion for the skin, and I personally know the. So is
it an ultraviolet blocker?
No, it's not an ultraviolet blocker. Nope, it's just it's an oil based, and it uses some essential fatty acids, like some omegas and stuff in there, and but it's also got some of the different types of nutrition that you need for skin health, and it's got living organisms, and literally it's got bacteria like the probiotics.
Okay, so let me ask a couple questions, because we're in an area that I know just enough about to be dangerous, and
me too.
And we know that the very top layer of skin, the stratum corneum they call it, is a totally dead layer of skin that's supposed to keep bad stuff out of there, out of the dermis and the living parts of your skin. So this product that you're putting on, it must be using this oil to penetrate that stratum corneum to get into the skin to make it healthy. Would that be a correct statement?
Yeah, that would be a very correct statement. Yeah, so it's going to. Obviously, your skin is an organ. It's the largest organ on the body, and so it's made to do a few things. Obviously, besides make you look absolutely stunningly beautiful, it's made to
Thank you,
stop
Sean.
things. Yeah, you're welcome, Robert. And we all know that's true. And so it obviously stops things that aren't supposed to get into your body from getting in, and it helps the things that your body does need to get in as well. So it's a pathway, and it's a resistance as well. So yeah, this is stuff that your body needs, that feeds your nutrition in your body. Matter of fact, this product is actually a food-based product, and so you can actually literally you can eat it. You can drop it in your mouth, and actually that's one of the things they recommend is to put it not only on your skin but also to maybe take it internally once in a while to feed your skin from the inside out. And that was one of the things that they talked about this weekend was that really good healthy skin comes from within. It comes from inside your body, and so you put this lotion on your skin. It absorbs into the skin, and it reaches to all of the different layers of the skin.
So let me ask you another question, Sean. And I honestly don't know the answer to this question. Most of the time when we talk about organs, and in this case you're saying that the skin is the largest organ in the body, or not in the body, on the body in this case. And in the past we talked about organs being muscle. Is the skin actually muscle that has deteriorated?
No, it's not a muscle. The skin doesn't. It's obviously got muscle attached to it, but it is not. It's not a muscle itself. It doesn't have the ability to create movement. And it's interesting you asked that question. Of course, one of the things that women are, and this is something I've known for quite a while, but one of the things that women are very concerned about is they get that. For lack of a better description, that kind of the bumpy kind of cottage cheese look, what they call it, on their skin.
The cellulite.
Or they get that cellulite look, and the reason why women, if you notice, women tend to get that, and men do not tend to get that.
And the reason
is because there is connective tissue that goes from the muscle through the fatty layer, and then it connects to the skin. So the skin is connected by way of these connective tissues that are basically picture like little strings or ropes, if you will, that are holding it all in. But on men, those connective tissues are a little bit more elastic, and they kind of crisscross at different angles.
So, Sean, is that why you hear this comment that men appear to age better than women do?
Well, I think that
because the aging, the look of aging is in the skin. It's not so much anywhere else. And is that the reason that men appear to age better than women do?
No, I think it's that women just get stressed out from having to put up with men. I think I'm just trying to earn some points here. No, it doesn't really have anything to do specifically with that. That just has to do with the bumpiness of the skin, because that connectivity issue. Of the connective tissue, like I said, for men, those connective tissues are a little bit more elastic, and they're kind of crisscrossed at angles, so they've got more give. While on women, they tend to be a little bit stiffer, they're less elastic, and they go straight from the skin to the muscle.
Do men get it too?
Do men get it too, you said?
Yeah, do they get cellulite too?
They get technically cellulite is actually fat, so yes, we do get it. But the problem is that it doesn't show up on us.
And whether you're a man or a woman, does exercise help to reduce that?
Well, of course it does. It's because it's going to reduce the amount of your fatty layers. So anytime you can increase lean mass and reduce fat mass, then it's going to reduce the appearance of that bumpiness. But another part of it too is you just got to have good skin health, and of course, obviously, because that connectivity, the connective tissue doesn't have the elasticity, the more weight a person gains in the sense of fat mass, then the more that cellulite look. It's not actually called cellulite, but it's actually that bumpy look, the orange peel look, or the cottage cheese look shows more as a person gains weight more. So, but that all could be treated with there are different. Again, this cream here is something that I don't know that they talk specifically about the cellulite look if it'll help with that. But in my opinion, it seems like it should be able to, because I've seen other things that, massage helps with that because it loosens things up and so on. So.
That's interesting. So you're saying that the application of this product that you heard about, it's a topical application, but you can actually ingest it as well. And when you ingest it, what does it do? Because now it's going into your digestive system, right?
Right. It's going to go into your digestive system. It'll absorb through the intestines and get into the bloodstream. And then it will get carried through, throughout the body, and it'll absorb into the muscle and soft tissues of the body, just kind of evenly throughout the body, and it'll absorb and it'll actually eventually make its way out to the skin. But some of it is also things that your body needs. I shouldn't say some of it, all of it is stuff your body needs. Mm-hmm. So that nutrition that you're putting on your skin, it feeds the skin right away. It's especially since that it feeds the microbiome of the skin, but it also absorbs into the skin and becomes distributed through the body as well. And so what this is because the company is a herbal and nutritional supplement company, and everything that they do is all natural and plant-based, they wanted to make a skincare product that was also all natural and plant-based, or it's not actually plant-based because some of the oils, I'm not sure if the oils, maybe they don't come from the same, maybe some of them come from fish oil, but I don't think they do. So it's all plant-based oils, and so you can ingest it just like you would like flaxseed oil or something like that. And so they wanted to keep it in harmony with the rest of their products. And what really started this was Shane Morris is the chief developer there at Systemic Formulas, and he's an amazing guy. He's got his PhD in I can never remember what it is. It's a microbiology or something like that. But he has been formulating all kinds of products for them for years, and one day he was looking at this bottle of skin cream. I think maybe it was something that his wife had, and it said that it was a probiotic, that it had living organisms, and he was curious, so he took it to work and put it in a petri dish in the lab and found that there was 0 living organisms in this thing. So he got on the war path. He's like, well, if they're going to say that it is a probiotic, that it has living organisms, that it actually has the nutrients to feed your skin, then it should actually have those, which this product doesn't have what it says it does, and it wasn't a cheap product. And so he went out and he researched every single product that he could find that said it was a probiotic or that it had living organisms or something along those lines that was basically food for the skin. He bought them all, every single one of them, thousands of dollars worth of skincare products. And he put them all in his lab and tested them one at a time. And out of this very, very long list that he showed us of skincare products, there were only 2 of them that actually delivered on what they said, and one actually had 1 living organism in it. It was a liquid, and he said, in fact, the organism wasn't there in great numbers, but it was in fact there. And so he had several of the people there at the facility try it on their skin, and he said most of them, their skin got red and itchy, and they didn't like it at all. And then the other product was one that basically it's called Dirt something, I can't remember the name, but basically their slogan was, hey, dirt is good for your skin. And it didn't have any living organisms, but what it had was the what they call prebiotics, the stuff that feeds the microorganisms that live in your skin and your gut. And so it actually had what it said it had. And he said it wasn't a bad product, but it really didn't reach the level of what they would call therapeutic skincare product.
So let me ask you this, because you and I have been talking about different holistic ways of handling lots of different physiological problems over the years, and this is the first time I've heard you really talk about a skin care type issue. And what actually enticed you to drive? I mean, obviously you came from. You're taking a small sabbatical. You've driven from Wichita through Arizona into Newport Beach.
Actually, you missed Texas, Arizona,
and
Kansas, and Texas.
but you've gone to a number of these presentations, and this is the first time I've ever heard you really talk about skincare. What enticed you to go all the way to Utah for skincare?
Well, first of all, it's because it's a Systemic Formulas some are, and I highly respect this company. I've been working with them from the onset of when I really started working with nutrition full time, and their products are, in my opinion, the best in the country. I've gotten there's a couple of companies that I really like. One of them is, of course, Systemic Formulas. Another one is Designs for Health. As a matter of fact, JJ Virgin, who's a friend of mine, used to be the spokesperson for Designs for Health, and she used to promote a lot of skin line stuff. She always talked about, that you're great. I think she even had a talk that was called "Great Skin Starts from Within," and so she would talk about how taking supplements naturally to go internally are going to help your skin outwardly. But this is the first product that I've seen from what would be a nutritional supplement company that is specifically designed to go on the skin and not to treat the skin from internally within. And so it's pretty exciting. But
whoa! You just confused me. So you're saying that this was specifically formulated to go on the skin, but not penetrate the skin and get into the skin?
No, it's the first product that I've seen from like these natural nutrition companies of a high quality product that is made to be used topically, specifically for skin health. Is what I'm saying.
So
yeah,
and it's using the oil to penetrate the skin, the protective layers of the skin. Is it using a steroid or a corticosteroid to get down deep?
No. The body will absorb. You don't have to put much on the body for it to absorb stuff. If you want to test that theory sometime, take a garlic and crush it and stick it in your sock and put your shoe on, and before too long you'll have garlic breath.
Really?
So yeah. Your skin absorbs everything that touches it practically. And in fact, that was part of one of the things that we learned. And skin health is really it's exciting for those of us who are in the natural health care that we work primarily with people who pay cash instead of people who use insurance, because the one thing that people will pay cash for above all other things is beautiful skin, because it outwardly expresses their beauty. In fact, that's why the highest paid physicians in the country are dermatologists. Because a lot of the skin stuff that people go in to get treatments, whether it's plastic surgery all the way down to just getting rid of eczema or whatever, if insurance won't cover it, people are willing to pay cash for it. So from that aspect, from a business point of view, it's always good to learn about skin. But I like the fact that they talk about skin and not just how to make it beautiful, but also how our skin health, everything from eczema to psoriasis to acne to rashes or whatever the case might be, how all of that is directly connected to our internal health, everything from heart disease and stroke to obesity and diabetes and on and on. So our skin health is directly linked to our internal health, and that's one of the things that I enjoy, is being able to approach someone's health in a way that they want to move on with the program that you want to put them on, but you're not just doing it just to make them look beautiful. You're actually therapeutically helping this person to get them healthy.
So let me ask you this: since we've got skin from the top of our head to the bottom of our toes, and this is a skin care line, does it include bathing or shower gels or stuff like that, so that you can get all of your skin penetrated with this product?
No. I mean, you can put it on all over your entire body, but no, this is just it's just a lotion that you put on. It's actually an oil-based lotion that you put on. And so, one of the things that they actually talk about, and I've noticed too, is really most people overwash their skin. You really, matter of fact, most soaps that you buy in the store, you shouldn't use at all. The only places you should really wash are, unless of course you're all muddy, you need to wash off or something like that. Yeah. But just for day-to-day washing, really the only places you actually need to wash are the places where you grow hair. Your armpits, your groin, and of course the top of your head. At least some of us still have hair on the top of our head.
Somehow I just knew that was going to happen. Here's the problem. When God said he was going to pass out brains, I thought he said rain, and I hid under the table. And I forgot to get that covering that went over the top. So, and that's what happened. It was either that or I have excelled in brain power so much that there's just no room for hair follicles.
I actually believe the latter one.
Okay. You feeling okay? I'm hearing some coughing going on.
Yeah, I got to see, I told you about the nasoplasty thing that I did, that balloon thing. I told you about that, right?
Yeah.
I'm still over, I'm telling you, I finally stopped draining. I still feel congested, but it's getting better.
This is from 2 weeks ago, Sean. Or no, a week ago, actually.
No, it was just over a week ago. It was 9 days ago. But I mean, someone sticks something up your nose and inflates it and moves your bones in your head.
Well, did you ever go back for that second treatment? You were talking about perhaps doing that.
No, I was going to actually go do it today, but I'm working on some videos that I'm doing voiceover work for. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I want to do is all of a sudden get my nose in a place where I sound horrible, where I'm all congested because my throat was scratchy. I had a scratchy voice for probably 3 or 4 days after that. And so the last thing I want to do is actually make that happen again. I've got to get these voiceovers done first. So, but then I do plan on going and getting some more of that balloon nasoplasty.
Now, is that something that you have to do it here before you return to Wichita, or do you have it? Can you do it in Wichita as well?
I don't know anybody in Wichita who does it, so I'll go in and have him do 1 or 2 before I leave. But if I don't get it done, it's not a big deal. I'll be back and I'll get it done another time. Yeah. Listen, the guy that I know who does it, I see him at all these seminars, and if I ask him to bring it along with him, I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to skin.
Well, actually, we've got 60 seconds before we have to take a break. So you want to do a little lead up and leave a teaser?
Okay, well, yeah. So what we'll do is when we come back, we'll talk about your skin health and some of the conditions like eczema and psoriasis and those things, and how those are associated typically with more serious health conditions like heart disease and strokes and actually bone frailty and all kinds of things. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Oh, that'll be really interesting. That would be really interesting. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about skin health care. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back. Got a lot of stuff for you. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently, still 76 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, on its way down to 52 degrees. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be sitting outside or anywhere in Paris, France, it's 41 degrees and it's partly cloudy, but it's 1 o'clock in the morning, guys. Got to get a life. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 50 degrees and it's clear, and it's also 1 o'clock in the morning, tomorrow morning. You know what, right now, we're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We're talking about health care for skin. Hey, Sean, you got a microphone, bud.
All right. So this, like I was saying, the thing that I love about addressing healthcare or addressing skincare issues is people care about their skin, and so when you tell them, hey, we're going to do something to help your skin look beautiful, especially if they've got something horrible like eczema or psoriasis or something, then they're definitely more prone to actually take action and move forward with care. And the nice thing is just like with weight loss is not a real big passion of mine. Like I know a lot of people who love to do weight loss talks and help people lose weight, and they get all excited. And I think it's wonderful too. But the thing that I like about weight loss is that typically the same things you need to do to help a person lose weight are the same things that are also going to help them reduce diabetes or fix their thyroid or fix their adrenal glands or, whatever, decrease blood pressure and so on and so forth. And so that's the one thing that when you look at a therapeutic approach to skincare, instead of just, putting on some sort of a pharmaceutical cream that suppresses the symptoms or, clears up the itchiness or whatever the case might be, but doesn't actually address the problem. I can actually address the problem, address the root cause and go for it that way. So I'm really excited about this. But when you look at, all these different health conditions that people have with their skin, there's a correlation with the various ones with different health conditions internally. And those are the things that people will tell you, that they want to have a healthy heart and they're afraid of stroke or whatever the case might be, diabetes and on, but their actions don't support their words. People, in fact, there's a great book that I think I've mentioned it on the show before, but it's called Change or Die. And this author,
that's a real motivation,
Yeah. Well, you would think that dying would be a motivation, but for most people, it doesn't seem to be. And he was saying that 9 out of 10 people, when faced with a life-threatening condition, will still not make the necessary changes to fix. Even if you can tell them this is reversible and it won't kill you if you do this, most people won't make those changes. They're too addicted. Like a person, you've seen people with diabetes walk into the store that's, their legs are all swollen and they're all covered with scales because they have no, they're purple because there's no blood flow, and eventually that person's going to end up getting, his legs cut off because the diabetes has gotten so far.
So when you see people with swollen legs, swollen ankles, the discoloredness and stuff like that, and the scaling, that's actually a sign that they have diabetes?
Oh yeah, whenever I see, like if I'm walking, like if I'm in the store and I'm walking behind somebody, a lot of times they'll be wearing shorts because it hurts for the pants to rub against their legs, and they'll be wearing sandals because it hurts to wear shoes. And you can see their feet are swollen. They're usually a really dark color, like almost purple, and they look like they have like an eczema or something, a real itchy kind of scaly look to their skin. And for a lot of people with that, it could just be they have eczema, but chances are, if it looks all the swollenness and everything else, it's because of the lack of blood flow to the lower extremities due to diabetes. And so, the body protects the internal organs every possible way. And even if that means, I've got to stop pushing blood to the legs, below the knees, then so be it. I can live without legs, but I can't live without a heart or lungs. And so the body has a really interesting way of survival.
So it's like a body. It's like a body triage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's it's not pretty, but it'll keep you alive a little bit longer. So, but even someone in that state, they will still go out and eat their. I mean, I've sat down in front of people to go, well, I've got type 1 diabetes, and there's nothing you can do to help me, and so I'm not really going to change it. And he's just it was a guy I remember specifically talking to, and he said, "You can't help me because I have type 1 diabetes." I said, "Well, actually, yeah, I can help you," but he was already convinced that he couldn't be helped, and he was there because I think he was wanting for something not diabetes related, something else. And when I was talking to him about his diabetes, he's like, "Yeah, you can't help me," and he didn't care. He was going to drink his soda and he was going to eat his sugary foods because he liked them. And then he would just take his insulin shots, and this guy had no desire to change. And unfortunately, a lot of people are like that. But when it's on their skin, it's really funny, people, when they know that everyone else can see, because you can't see if I have a heart condition, or you can't see if, if I've got fatty liver or whatever the case might be from drinking too much. Nobody can see that just by looking at me. But I can see if you have eczema, or I can see if you have, psoriasis, or if you've got a rash, or if you've got welts, or all these, boils on your skin. And so people tend to pay cash for that. And the cool part is, they want to get it fixed because they don't want to look that way. And the nice thing is, if you can fix that by getting at the cause, you can fix other health issues. But take eczema for example. People with eczema, they have an increased risk of all things, bone and joint injuries, like fractures to their bones.
Really?
Yeah, and you would think, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why is that? And it could be part of it is nutritionally, but part of it also is they also have sleep problems because they can't sleep very well. This eczema is, for those who don't know, it's again, like most chronic diseases, it's caused by inflammation, but it manifests itself on the skin with red, itchy kind of patches of skin, and they're very itchy from what I understand. They're very uncomfortable. I've never had it. I don't know. But since they can't sleep very well, they're groggy, they're tired, they may be more prone to accidents, plus they're also distracted. Maybe they're doing something that they're not paying attention to because their skin itches so bad, and all of a sudden they trip and fall and they step out in front of a vehicle because they weren't paying attention. So now they're saying that the eczema actually causes the joint injuries, but they're saying that those people are more prone to it because of the way it affects it. And it certainly psychologically and emotionally affects a person, because imagine, you've got this chronic itch. Imagine how crazy. I mean, think of like something like that, that Chinese water torture, where, they strap you down and drip a drop of water onto your forehead, one after the other until you just go mad. And, so it's like that. Imagine if your skin itched all the time and no matter what you did, you couldn't make that itch go away. It would psychologically just drain you. And so actually a lot of people, that's another thing, is people end up with the skin issues, end up with psychological issues, whether it's because of the craziness from itching all the time, or the self-consciousness of, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me because I've got this horrible looking skin or whatever. So there's a direct connection between skin issues and psychological issues as well. Psoriasis, people with psoriasis. Now, psoriasis is an autoimmune disorder. Okay, so whenever someone has autoimmune, if they've got other things going on, they can have other autoimmune, like rheumatoid arthritis. We know that there's a strong connection between rheumatoid arthritis and psoriasis, but those are both autoimmune disorders. But we also know that people who have psoriasis also have a significantly increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and blood pressure, which are all, of course, just, cardiovascular issues, which are all related to inflammation. And, anything that's autoimmune is basically going to be an inflammation driven. Again, we're going back to this, the root cause of all this stuff is you've got to drive down inflammation. So if you can treat someone for psoriasis, you can get the inflammation driven down. It's more than just this lotion. It will help with psoriasis, but it's not going to fix the root problem. It's definitely going to help because it is natural, but you've got to find out what it is that's causing the inflammation. That this person is, toxic, maybe has heavy metals, or is eating a poor diet, or whatever the case might be. I mean, there are people who, just maybe they're so sensitive to gluten in their wheat that they stop eating gluten and their autoimmune goes away. There's no more psoriasis. Matter of fact, I had a patient that her son was so, they call it celiac, so sensitive to the gluten in wheat that if he took one bite of a piece of bread, she goes, he would completely lose his mind, and he was like a junkie because this stuff got to his brain and it reacted with his opiate centers in his brain, those receptors, and basically it was like he had just taken some sort of a drug. And she said he would look like a crack junkie. He would be screaming, he'd throw a fit, he'd start scratching himself on the face, and on, and all this because he ate a piece of bread. And so some people are that sensitive to it, and some people are not that sensitive, but they have enough of a sensitivity that when they eat it, it might create something like psoriasis. And the unfortunate part is it's the type of reaction that's not like, oh, I ate shrimp and my lips swelled up and now my throat's going to close, or I got a rash all of a sudden, and it's instantaneous where you go, okay, I've got an anaphylactic reaction. When you put the two and two together, it might be I ate bread and 3 days later or 2 days later I had a psoriasis outbreak. Well, you don't put the connection together, at least not immediately. Some people do eventually. So, it could be that when you remove that source of inflammation, that could be the food or the toxins or whatever it is that they're doing to themselves, that now the psoriasis is gone, but also all of the risks of everything else is gone too. So it's cool to think that you can treat someone for a skin condition and make their overall health better as well.
So let me go back a little bit. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about psoriasis. I don't have psoriasis, but I have friends. I got one particular friend that I'm thinking of that has a serious case of psoriasis, and he has to have this IV done once a month. Very expensive. $1,200 a month it's costing him. And
$1,200, you said?
Yeah. And,
oh gosh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but he's had this. I mean, I've known this guy for 40 years, maybe longer, and he's in this treatment he's taken actually does control it because he looks as good as I've ever seen him. At one time, it was just really horrible stuff. Is that something that is indicative of an internal problem that was just never taken care of, and that had it been taken care of, he could have alleviated all of this?
Oh yeah, and he still can alleviate all of it. That's the good part. Psoriasis is it's an autoimmune condition, and so we know that the body is somehow turning on itself. And usually, when the body's turning on itself, it's not actually turning on itself. It's kind of a misnomer. The body is trying to attack something else that's inside of the body, and the only way it knows how to do it is to destroy the cells that thing is inside of, like maybe a piece of glyphosate or a piece of mercury or some other thing that is in the body that the body's trying to get rid of, and recreates this what they call an overactive cytokine response, which leads to massive inflammation, which leads to all this cell destruction, and then boom, what happens in psoriasis specifically is your cells are trying to repair and get ahead of whatever's going on in the body, and they actually multiply too quick. Because your cells are always going to multiply. They're going to divide and so on, and some die off and they mix new ones. But in psoriasis, the cells divide too quickly, and because they're dividing so quickly, it's actually creating this kind of shiny look on the skin. But again, it's all driven from inflammatory pathways, and you figure out where that inflammation is coming from, you can drive that down and get rid of it, where this guy doesn't have to have these treatments every month. That stuff that he's doing is also not only is it expensive, but it's going to have side effects. I don't know what the side effects for this specific one are, but there's not a drug in the world that doesn't come with some sort of a side effect, whether mild or severe.
Sure. Yeah, because, as you and I have talked about so many times, doctors really no longer treat diseases; they treat symptoms, and so they don't. You've convinced me that doctors don't want to cure the patient. Otherwise, if they do, they lose their resource, their income source.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there's no money in healthy people, and there's no money in dead people. So you just got to keep them alive long enough until they at least run out of money. But it's kind of cynical, but unfortunately, that's kind of the way it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, but for your friend, it could be he needs to treat his psoriasis. One, so he doesn't have to get these treatments, which is great. That's $1,200 a month. He doesn't have to shell anymore. But what he's also doing is now reducing his risk of some sort of cardiovascular disease in the future. It could be one day he doesn't, he goes to bed and doesn't wake up because he's had a heart attack because he never addressed the inflammation, the inflammatory pathway that was leading to the autoimmune that created the psoriasis. Mm-hmm. And so, so it's much, to me, the bigger picture here is, treat the psoriasis. You don't want the shiny skin. You don't want to have to go to the $1,200 a month in treatments. Which if they're helping, then great, that's awesome. But what he really wants is to understand is that he's going to be preventing other preventable diseases that are more life-threatening than psoriasis, like
I can remember, Sean, years ago, and you know what? I can't remember what year it was, but it was when we had the that first Iraq war that George Bush Sr. got into. We were in it for like 7 days or something like that. And it was then during that time, and my buddy and I and another friend, we were going to San Francisco, and he was having treatment because he had this just a severe case of psoriasis all over his body, and he was taking steroids that resulted in him getting osteoporosis, and his spine was crushing under its own weight, and he wound up having tremendous treatments to fix that.
Yeah, steroid treatments are dangerous in my opinion. They work in the short run, but I was reading a book. I was actually in Texas, this was years ago in the Dallas area, mm-hmm. and I wasn't actually attending the seminar, but we were at a seminar for the treatment of the natural treatment of scoliosis. This was I don't know, probably 14 years ago or something like that.
Which is that's the curvature of the spine, right?
The curvature of the spine, yeah, the improper curvature of the spine. And so we were at this seminar, but while we were there, the hotel where we were staying had a seminar on spinal injection therapy, where they take the needle and shove it into your spine and inject in certain areas.
That sounds really pleasant.
Oh, it's a blast, I'm sure. And so I walked around as I was going through, and I'm talking to the people there and asking a bunch of questions because I'm just curious. I learn from anybody I can. If I get a chance to talk to someone in a completely different field that to me is related to what we do, and then I'm excited. And I even bought a few books, and one of the books I bought was about pain and its causes and treatment. And I was reading through this book, and this is a book that was sold there, written by a medical doctor, and seemed like a pretty well put together book. And one of the things it said was that, and again, this seminar was on spinal injection therapy, where they inject into the spine in between the joints between the vertebrae. It says that steroid injection therapy in every single case always leads to some level of degeneration in the joint. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you guys are teaching each other how to do this, and this guy in this book that I just bought here at your seminar is saying, look, every time you inject this into someone, it leads to some level of degeneration. The more injections, the more degeneration you cause. And that's why you'll see people who get a lot of cortisone or, steroid injections into, say, a knee or a hip or something like that will end up eventually getting that knee or hip replaced because it doesn't actually heal it. It just temporarily kills the pain, and the body's just going to keep moving through what if the pain is no longer there. That pain would have stopped you from doing further damage, but now the cortisone on top of it is also creating more degeneration to the point that joint needs to be replaced. So yeah, you get these people these steroids, and someone ends up like your friend where their spine all of a sudden starts collapsing on itself, and it can lead to some pretty serious problems. So that's why I always say, find out what's causing this issue. If it can be addressed, fix it. If it can't, then you go for the symptoms. There are some things that you just can't fix.
Well, Sean, we need to take another break. Can you give us a little more of a teaser?
I'm sure we can come back. I was wondering if we were going to finish, but we'll go on to. There's another condition called status dermatitis, and which is kind of a darkening of the skin that I was reading about, and we'll talk about how that actually specifically is connected with diabetes. So we'll talk about that one.
Oh, that's interesting. And we'll be back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. It hasn't gone down. It's still 76 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It just went down to 72. That's a big jump or downsize. That's down from 80 degrees, it says now, on its way to 53 degrees. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in London, England, well, you know what? It's 46 degrees and it's raining. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 41 degrees and, well, it's mostly cloudy. But I'll tell you what, no clouds gather over the head of my good buddy Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Sean, you were going to talk about these darkening spots on the skin. Are we talking about those things that they call liver spots? Is that what or is this something different?
Yeah, this is something different. These ones are actually known as shin spots, and they're actually it's a darkening or discoloration of the skin on the lower leg. So they're actually known as shin spots. But what they are a direct result of is what I talked about earlier, how a person with diabetes has a decreased blood flow. In fact, a person with diabetes will also, they'll start to see, because of the decrease in blood flow, they'll start to see a loss of hair on the lower half or so of their lower leg. So the top half of the shin might still have hair on it, but the bottom half, you'll see the hair fading away.
Oh no, I've got hair missing on my ankles, but it's because of football tape.
Yeah, that's a little different.
I think they just ripped it. They just ripped that stuff out of there, by the follicles.
Yeah, I know a few people with that same condition. There's no cure for that. Robert, you're stuck with it.
Well, it's too bad. I swear to you, I never used any of that on the top of my head. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I was going to say you should have saved it, and you could have used it later and just glued it up on stuff.
Yeah.
But no, this is so you get this darkening of the skin, and basically what it is it's a circulatory problem again. Everything goes back to this one word, caused by inflammation, and this is a direct result of a person who's diabetic. So when we think of skin health, like I said, if I see a person who has status dermatitis is what this is called, then I know, there's a good chance this person also is diabetic. And there are a lot of people in this country walking around who are at least pre-diabetic, and many of them actually full-blown diabetes and don't even realize it because the symptoms aren't, they're not huge. It might be, like I said, some skin discoloration, maybe a little bit of just a shortness of breath, or they don't have the energy they used to have. Maybe their food cravings are a little off. It's something that we wouldn't really think of as something major. Maybe they need more carbohydrates throughout the day and so on and so forth, and because they're such sugar burners. And so, this state of diabetes, a low-level state of diabetes, leads to this chronic state of inflammation. And it can affect everything from, like I said, this discoloration, the status dermatitis. It could get skin infections easier. People who have, blood, the blood has so many different properties and characteristics and roles that it plays. It's amazing what blood is capable of doing. But one of the things that it does is it brings nutrition to every part of your body, and at the same time, it also takes the waste products away. So, you've got the same blood that's full of nutrition is depositing nutrition as it's going, and then it's got to grab a hold of waste products and take them back to the liver and kidneys to be excreted. And so when you don't have that, when you're dealing with chronic inflammation, you don't have the nutrition you need to heal. Now people are going to become more prone to skin infections, or even just they get itchy skin. They're like, gosh, or they might get the opposite of itchy skin. They might get a form of neuralgia where you might run your finger along part of your leg or something, and you have either no sensation or maybe a mild tingling sensation where it doesn't feel like it does on the rest of your skin. And again,
so that's really a circulation problem that's caused by the disease that, like we talked about, that triage where the body is saying, hey, I need to reserve this blood flow for major portions of the body. And so if I'm not putting the blood flow down in those lower extremities, we're going to start to see adverse reactions, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Is you're without the blood going to the lower extremities. Down the lower extremities, they don't heal. If you get an injury, they're not going to heal as quickly. Like I said, you might get itchy. You might get just sensitive skin or numbing in your skin. It could be various different things. But the skin is again, it's all about the skin giving you these kind of warning signs. It's almost like your check engine light that comes on. It's not a matter of, I've got a skin problem, I need to fix it. You go, I've got a skin problem. Why do I have a skin problem? Well, maybe it's because of a more deep-seated problem, in this case, diabetes. Well, what does that mean? It means I need to change my diet. I'm maybe eating too much sugar.
So let me ask you, because I honestly don't know. When you say I have to change my diet, is diabetes a problem with people that use sugar, and so their body no longer produces it for themselves?
Yeah, so it's definitely, eating too much sugar is going to certainly lead to diabetes because of the insulin resistance. It creates that chronic state of inflammation. Mm-hmm. But it's not just sugar; it's anything that goes into your body that can be converted into sugar. Anything that's processed, any type of carbohydrate that's processed. You've got. So
it's not the sugar. It's not the sugar. It's the body's inability to process the sugar. Is that what diabetes is?
The diabetes is the body's inability. You become insulin resistant, and so now you're not processing sugar in the right way. And sugar just in general is very destructive to the body. But when the body loses the ability to handle sugar well, it becomes even more destructive. Sugar burns very, very dirty. It creates a lot of waste when it burns. Or fat, when you burn fat for energy, it actually burns very clean. It actually produces a byproduct called ketones. We've talked about going into a state of ketosis, and ketones are actually very healing. They actually drive down inflammation. So sugar is certainly a huge culprit, but it goes beyond sugar. It goes to processed foods. Anything. Okay.
So now you've hit me with another one. You're talking about ketones and ketosis, and which is and it's going to kind of go off in a different direction. It's also the premise of this Atkins diet, the low carbohydrate diet. They're saying if you eliminate carbohydrates, it creates a system of ketosis in your body, the ketones, and so you're saying that the ketones are actually good for your body, or are you saying that it's not?
Yeah, the ketones are fantastic for your body. They're super, super healing. They drive down inflammation. They help maintain a level energy in the body, so you don't go through those highs and lows. They actually help with mental clarity. So
are carbohydrates bad for your body then, or do you need to have a certain amount of it?
Yeah, you need to have a certain amount of carbohydrates for sure. In our diet, in the Western diet, the standard American diet, as they call it, we definitely eat too many carbohydrates. And again, it's not that you shouldn't eat carbohydrates. It's actually, when you think about cyclically how we eat, think about how people would have ate. And I'm not even going to go back 100 years because we were kind of industrial. Let's go back a few hundred years just to make it simple. We didn't have refrigerators and freezers and all these things, and so we couldn't get fruit from Hawaii, so I couldn't eat pineapple in December, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we would eat in the summertime. There was an abundance of fruits and vegetables as well, of course, but definitely more fruits. So you would eat a lot more carbohydrates, but those carbohydrates come with fiber, and they also come with a lot of nutrition. They're made sweet because our bodies intended it, whether it's, God wants you to, or you want to say nature intended it, or whatever. It's nature's way of saying, look, this is delicious, eat it, because it's really good for you. So nature put the sugar in the apples and the cherries and the berries and oranges and all that, because they're loaded with nutrition. And so in the summertime, we would eat far more carbohydrates than we would any other time of year. Well, then, fall rolls around and maybe we found a way to store some things, like maybe there's fermentation that will help them last longer.
I've always thought in terms, Sean, of carbohydrates being a result of pastas and things like that. But you're saying carbohydrates are also loaded in fruits and vegetables.
Oh yeah, fruits are. It's pure sugar. So there's more carbohydrates in fruit than just about anything else.
So
it's
is
not
that
a bad carbohydrate?
So from a diabetes standpoint, is that contraindicative of eating fruits and vegetables?
Yeah. So for a healthy person, fruits are fantastic. For a person with diabetes, fruits are a death sentence. So you would want to not eat fruit if you're in a state of diabetes until you've overcome that and you've metabolically restored your body back to where it should be. And so you would just do more of, if a person's in a diabetic state, chances are it's because they've been eating carbohydrates all year round as if it was summertime 365 days a year, where our ancestors in the wintertime, there wasn't any fruit, unless you lived in Ecuador or something. But in North America and in Northern Europe, where most of us come from, even in Africa, the fruit, there wasn't a lot of fruit. And so in the wintertime, they would eat, animal products. They would eat more high fat foods, maybe some nuts, some seeds that they were able to harvest and dry and store into the winter, and they would eat the nuts and the seeds later on. And of course, eating more animals meant more protein and more fat. They didn't trim the fat and throw it away or give it to the dog back, and back, several hundred years ago, they ate that because that was, highly sought after. It was a great source of energy and a lot of nutrition in there. And so our maybe when the fall came around or the spring came around, we would start getting more of the vegetables in. And so, different times of year, our ancestors ate a different type of diet. It's, what we would now call, a varietal diet. You want to change it up. So you don't want to eat, even though the ketogenic diet is great for you, you don't want to eat ketogenic all the time. You want to get your body out of that state and go into a state where you're eating good carbohydrates, especially in the summertime. And so if you eat cyclically, according to how our ancestors would have eaten, you're going to avoid all these things, from everything from cholesterol to diabetes to, skin conditions, heart disease, and so on and so forth. Yeah, a lot of that can be prevented just by rotating your diet according to the same schedule that our ancestors, because that's the way our bodies work. We had to adapt to a variety of diets throughout a specific time of the year. And so our body is just in tune to that. It knows, okay, I can eat for a few months, I can eat fruit and get a lot of carbohydrates, but I can't do that all year long, several years in a row, or I'm going to destroy myself metabolically. And of course, nowadays we eat, the foods that we eat are so deprived of nutrition that, we live in a time now where you can overeat and at the same time be undernourished. And that was something that our grandparents probably couldn't do, but we certainly can.
Yeah. Yeah. And because, you hear about these athletes that have to shove in all kinds of carbs because they're going to be competing the next day, and they're eating as many carbs as they can possibly get. Is that because our bodies burn the carbs for energy? It's not really burning sugar, it's burning carbs, or is carbs and sugar the same thing?
Well, carbs, carbohydrate is a form. Sugar is a form of carbohydrate. There's simple sugars, complex carbohydrates, and so sugars are just a form of carbohydrate. But when your body, the reason why these certain athletes will want to eat a higher carbohydrate diet is, let's say, especially someone like a sprinter, they're going to be burning, when you get your heart rate up to 85-90% of your max heart rate because you're running a full out sprint, the body instantly goes into sugar burning mode and it burns pure sugar. And you can only, there's a reason why you can only do that for so long, because it's like a jet taking off in full afterburner. It's going to get you where you want to go real quick, but you're going to run out of gas if you keep the afterburners on. You're eventually going to just crash. And so the human body will burn sugar at a high intense level, then it will deplete its glucose stores to where now, boom, you can. I've seen professional athletes literally.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this because we actually are out of time. On Thursday, Can we talk about diet and exercise and maintenance for your body and that kind of stuff, and how that all works together, and what a reasonable diet would be? I'm pretty sure that I probably have an unreasonable diet. In my eyes, you probably have an unreasonable diet. I mean, I eat whatever the heck I want to eat. I do it in moderation. But I
know how you eat. I think you have a very reasonable diet. But yeah, we can talk about that and how that affects different forms of exercise and how we burn fat versus sugars while we're exercising. So yeah, that'd be a fun topic to talk about on Thursday.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's try that if you don't mind.
Awesome.
Okay.
Are we out of time now?
We are. Yes, we are not only out of time, we're a minute over, or 2 minutes over.
We're
actually.
Over time. Hey, Robert, I had a fantastic time today. This was fun.
I've got to tell you, and I love it when you and I can have a conversation, and when you start talking about things, it just all of a sudden it brings up a lot of questions in my mind, and I'm thinking, well, if I'm thinking about these things, other people must be thinking about them too. And it's wonderful that I can ask the question and you can give me the answer right then and there, because I can't possibly be the only person that has those questions.
Well, I'm glad we can have those conversations. They're a lot of fun.
Well, you always make for a better show, and I've got there's nobody else I say that to other than you. It's just a joy to have you here on the show with us. Anyway, my friend, you have a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay dry. You're going to stay dry. You might as well go out to the beach. It's going to be hot tomorrow, and and enjoy yourself. And we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Sounds great, Robert. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. You take care. The rest of you folks, stay tuned to us, because when we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life in interesting but useless facts. You're not going to want to miss any of this. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000. 5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:43 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's down from 80 degrees, and it's on its way to 53 degrees. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 57 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Cleveland, Ohio, it's 44 degrees and it's raining. Yeah. Well, right now, what I want to talk to you about is the secret daily teaching for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You need to control your life, and you do it every day yourself. You control your feelings. It's just the way it is. Now, our teaching for today is actually from Buddha. You know, Buddha lived from 563 before Christ, that's BC, to 483 before Christ. And he says, all that we are is a result of what we have thought. Yeah, that just means your mind. You decide, you think. Everything we are is what you think you are. And if you keep thinking it, that's what's actually going to happen. Yeah. Well, you know what? It's time for us to talk about the, well, you know what? I think what we ought to do is talk about today's birthdays, because obviously it's March the 7th. Got to be somebody's birthday. Okay, you know what? And I said that. It's got to be somebody's birthday. It's because we know that every day has got to be somebody's birthday, right? Absolutely. Well, you know what? Today, on March the 7th, in 1942, this person was born, passed away in 2007, and a former wife of a televangelist and later convicted felon. Can you guess who he is? Well, in this case, it was his wife. Happy birthday, Tammy Faye Baker. Yeah. And here's a fellow born 1952, a former professional football player, sportscaster, and current politician. Happy birthday, Lynn Swan. And then finally, born in 1964, an actress and comedian. In 2004, Entertainment Weekly named her as one of the 25th funniest people in America. Happy birthday, Wanda Skikes. Yeah. Well, you know what? I know you're wondering what happened today in history. Wonder no more. Sit down in your favorite easy chair and listen to, as I tell you, what happened on March the 7th, 1926. The first transatlantic telephone call was made from New York City to London. Not that long ago, if you think about it, right? Not even 100 years ago. That's pretty recent. And on March the 7th, 1968, well, the BBC broadcast the news for the very first time in color on television. Yeah. And in 1969, on this date, Golda Meir nominated by the Labor Party as the very first female prime minister of Israel. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, our quote for today comes from Colette, and Colette says, "Hope costs nothing." So you know what? Might as well be hopeful. Seems to me. And right now it's time for our interesting but useless facts. So you know what? Let's get right to them. Did you know that there were real trained squirrels in the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Really trained squirrels. Can you imagine training squirrels? Yeah. Did you know that there are over 900,000 known species of insects? 900,000 species? That's amazing. That's just amazing. How about this? 7,000 years ago, the ancient Egyptians bowled on alleys, not unlike our own today. Bowling alleys. Give that some real serious thought. Why don't you? Did you know that the clock tower that supports the famous clock Big Ben at the House of Parliament in London is 320 feet high? The bell from which the clock gets its name weighs 13.5 tons. Can you imagine that? Wow. If that thing ever came loose and fell, can you imagine? Oh, my goodness. Well, you know what? There is a way of writing 1 by using all 10 single-digit numbers at once. That's 148 divided by 296 plus 35 divided by 70, and that equals 1. Just in case you were wondering, I was a math major. Did you know that 22% of people skip lunch every day? Now, I got to tell you, I can't go without breakfast. I love breakfast. And I love lunch. Generally, I'll have breakfast and I'll have a bite of lunch and I'll skip dinner. I might have a snack or something, unless I'm going out or celebrating or having something special going on. But dinner is something that's easy for me to pass on. And you know what? For some reason, it seems like it makes it easier for me to sleep at night. I'm more comfortable. Well, let me leave you with this. Bet was married 4 times. Her last to actor Gary Merrill, which lasted 10 years, longer than any of the previous 3. Yeah, give that some thought. And let me leave you. I'll give you one more. Did you know that you cannot trademark surnames? Yeah. Not at all. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to be doing our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story, the cabinet in the nursery. And I'll tell you all about it, so don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Yes, sir. You know what? The American Broadcasting Company calls him the biggest voice in America. He's Paul Harvey, and each week millions of listeners, viewers, and readers awaited his unraveling of the mysteries of events in the lives of people past and present. Heard on over 1,400 radio stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in 300 newspapers. The rest of the story has for years been exploring the byways of history with revelations that are intriguing, amusing, and surprising. In today's story, hey, the cabinet in the nursery. Perhaps young Bob's parents should not have told him about the cabinet in the nursery, that it had been made by William Brodie. Oh, the cabinet itself was a fine old piece of furniture, an elaborately carved, handcrafted antique. But the same hands which had so skillfully fashioned it had also carried twin pistols into a series of daring crimes. Brodie was eventually captured, charged with armed robbery and murder, tried, convicted, and hanged. Some 70 years later, the wooden cabinet that he made sat in a corner of Bob's nursery, inspiring an endless stream of childhood daydreams and one nightmare. Bob grew up to become a writer. But he never forgot the cabinet in his nursery, the one made by outlaw William Brodie. It was the rest of the story. Just what was the fuss about Bad Bill Brodie? Well, he was a depraved character of the 18th century who lived in Edinburgh, Scotland, Bob's hometown. He was a heavy drinker and a heavy gambler. His comrades were thieves, and his haunts were the lowest dives in the city. At first, Brodie worked alone in his criminal activities. In time, he organized a gang comprised of himself and 3 ex-cons. Together, they shared cheap wine, expensive women, and lascivious merriment, terrorizing Edinburgh as they went. In 1788, Brodie was hunted down and captured. They threw the book at Bad Bill Brodie, a gaunt of felony charges running from armed robbery to murder. He was tried, convicted, and executed. There, his story might have ended were it not for Bob. As a child, Bob had spent many years gazing at the cabinet in the nursery and listening to the strange tale of the outlaw who had made it. As an emerging writer, aged 15, Bob had become so fascinated by the life of William Brodie that he wrote a play about him. But something did not fit. The character had not yet come to life on paper. Reconstructing writing did not seem to help. When Bob was 35, married, successful, he was home in bed, asleep one night, but his rest was not peaceful. Bob's wife awakened to hear her husband screaming. She shook him. He opened his eyes. Sitting bolt upright in bed and still trembling, he related his nightmare to her. It had been about a man very much like outlaw William Brodie. Only the rogue in his dreams had seemed so real, it was terrible. The next morning, Bob began to write. 3 days and some 40,000 words later, he was finished. Although you may never have heard of Bad Bill Brodie, you know well the character he inspired that poured from Bob's prolific pen, a sinister synthesis spun from a shadowy web of facts and dreams. You will better understand writer Bob's fascination when you come to know the other side of the real Bill Brodie. For it's true that he was a libertine, a nefarious criminal, the scourge of Edinburgh. But all those things he was by night. By day, William Brodie was a respected businessman, a much admired member of the Edinburgh Town Council, the president of his union, a pillar of the highest society, a deacon. Oh yes, and a cabinet maker. Well, it was the dual nature of Deacon Brodie, the two incongruous, unrelated human halves that haunted Bob's dreams, eventually to inspire one of literature's most unforgettable characters. For, in a way, the doors of a handmade nursery cabinet open wide so that one day a young man named Bob, that would be Robert Louis Stevenson, could relate to you the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And now you know the rest of the story. Tell me that wasn't fascinating. Well, you're not going to want to miss tomorrow's story. Tomorrow's going to be Stairway to Heaven. It'll be just as shocking, just as surprising, and just as enjoyable. Now, don't forget that on my show tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to you about a continuation of money secrets of multimillionaire investors. And then our own Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, will be here. He'll be talking about wireless technology news. And then, like I said, I'm going to contribute our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey with the rest of the story. I'm going to ask you to please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And I promise you, I'll be glad you did.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.